Hello and welcome to For Your Ears Only. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, but you know that because you guys are Patreons or supporters via Patreon of DrivingMaul. So thank you very much for being supporters, and this video is exclusively for you. So, which games are worth or are the must-watches as part of the Rugby World Cup group stages? Well, let me share my screen with you. There we go. So here we go. We have the four pools in here: Ireland, Scotland, Japan, Russia, Samoa, New Zealand, South Africa, Italy, Namibia, Canada, England, France, Argentina, USA, Tonga, and Australia, Wales, Georgia, Fiji, and Uruguay. Now, in Pool B, it's pretty easy, isn't it? Let's be honest. There's one game that matters. All the rest really don't, as far as qualification is concerned, and that's a game between New Zealand and South Africa. The other three teams are going to lose to those two, and unless you're actually really interested in those teams themselves, there isn't really any games that matter in that one. In the other pools, it gets a bit more complicated. So, Ireland, Scotland, Japan, Russia, and Samoa, for example, the Scotland-Japan game or the Ireland-Japan game will matter depending on what's happened before them. So the order of the games matters as well. It's not just who's playing who. So let's have a quick look at that. So going through Pool A, that's Japan-Russia. Now, I'd say that's probably one you'd want to watch, but purely because it's the opening game of the Rugby World Cup. No other reason than that, really. Let's be honest, Japan are going to win that one quite comfortably, but that one's worth watching just purely because it is the opening game of the Rugby World Cup. 2 days later, you've got Ireland versus Scotland. 1 and 2 expected to be in the group, so clearly that is a key game. Then it's going to come down to what's happened there. So, for example, if Scotland get up over Ireland in that game, then suddenly the Japan-Ireland game on the 28th becomes a must-watch as well. If Ireland have beaten Scotland, then it's more of a you'd like to watch it, but it's not a must-watch. I don't think. So the order. So what's happened in early games is going to impact things. You'd expect basically the only other one there is Japan-Scotland, the last game of the group, to be the other one that's a must-watch. I can't see Samoa or Russia upsetting the other three. Coming down into Pool B, and it's that opening game, New Zealand versus South Africa. That's the only one that really matters. Namibia, Canada, that's probably the only chance either of those teams have got of getting a win, so maybe you might want to watch that one. But apart from that, really, it's just going to be that opening game. All the rest of the games in that pool really don't matter as far as qualification is concerned. Pool C, different ball game entirely. France, Argentina, clearly that's going to be important. England, Argentina, and then England, France. Those three games are the most important ones to watch in this group. It's going to be interesting to see how the USA go. I mean, they've got England, after England got a short turnaround, having played Tonga only 4 days earlier. So there's an opportunity there that England's going to have to rotate their squad, you'd think, for those two games. So either Tonga or the USA maybe have a chance there. But and Argentina haven't been going that well with their wins. So maybe one of the either the USA or Argentina and Tonga might be worth a watch as well. But I mean, on the whole, it really is just those three games. You'd expect the USA and Tonga to lose to the other three. Coming into Pool D. Now, until this weekend, a lot of us were jumping on the Fiji bandwagon. Let's be honest. But even so, I still think that opening game there of Australia-Fiji is definitely worth a watch. Fiji turned over France in November last year. There is a outside possibility of an upset. It's actually most likely Tier 2 win over a Tier 1 team in the competition. You might want to watch Wales-Georgia. I mean, a lot of people have been very positive about Georgia, but in all honesty, Georgia have never beaten a Tier 1 team. They even lost to Italy in the November tests last year. So in reality, I don't think that's much of a game. Australia-Wales, clearly that's going to be a game and should decide who comes first and second in the group, to be honest. Now, if Fiji have turned over Australia, then suddenly Fiji's games against Georgia, against Wales become massive watches. as does Australia's game against Georgia as well. So you've got to say that those games suddenly become watchers if Fiji get that upset in the opening round. If not, you're expecting Australia and Wales to, in all honesty, sail through this group. Wales, number 2 in the world, I can't really see them up tripping up against any of these other sides. I expect them to beat Australia as well. So you've just got that Australia, Fiji, and Australia, Wales, the 2, I would say. So what I've gone and done is I've gone and made myself a little spreadsheet. This spreadsheet has got all the games that I'm going to go to that I'm interested in as far as the Mitre 10 Cup goes as well. But basically you can see the dark grey ones are the games I've been talking about as being the must-watches. So basically they all fall on the weekends, which makes it nice and easy for people to watch and not have to worry about work so much, which is good. So basically the 21st of September is a day that you just want to book out and tell everyone to go away, because you've got 3 key games on that day. It's the second day of the Rugby World Cup, Australia, Fiji, France, Argentina, and New Zealand, South Africa. So 3 back-to-back games. So get yourself stocked up on food and beer. Pace yourself, otherwise you're not going to remember that last game. And yeah, the 21st September is a big game. As I said, the night before, Japan versus Russia. It's the opening game of the Rugby World Cup. You're probably going to want to watch that one, but it's not a must-watch. On to the Sunday, and then you've got Ireland, Scotland, as I mentioned. Now, I've also included all the England games because I'm English. So, hey, I'm going to be interested in those ones in light grey. So there's the England-Tonga game and the England-USA game. 2 games that I want to watch. But in all honesty, yeah, they're not must-watch games. Again, I've highlighted the Wales-Georgia one because there's nothing else happening on Monday night, so why not? Similar with this Scotland-Samoa one, purely because, hey, what else is happening on Monday night? You might as well catch the game. So that's weekend 1, and there are 4 must-watch games. Weekend 2, you've got Japan-Ireland and Australia-Wales. Those are going to be your 2. As I say, that Japan-Ireland one really comes down to what's happened. So it becomes it really comes down to what's happened in the Ireland-Scotland game, to be honest. If Ireland are looking or conquering, then it's probably going to be one-way traffic, in all honesty. But so yeah, Japan, I'd say that's one to catch. And then Australia-Wales, that's the big game of the weekend there on the Sunday. Following weekend, see, I've got New Zealand Canada in there. Hey, I'm in New Zealand. I have a channel called the All Blacks Edition. I'm going to watch all the New Zealand games. And I'll watch South Africa, Italy. But in all honesty, I know South Africa are going to win. Does it really matter? But England, Argentina, that's your big game of the 3rd weekend. Obviously, if Argentina have already lost to France, then it becomes a must-win game for them. If England have somehow tripped up against either the USA or Tonga, then obviously it becomes must-win for them. But yeah, England, Argentina, that's a must-watch. New Zealand, Namibia, if you like one-way traffic, come and join me and watch that one. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. There's South Africa, Canada one, Wales, Fiji, Australia, Georgia. Wales, Fiji, Australia, Georgia, 2 games that could potentially become must-watches, depending what's happened earlier in the tournament, but probably not. But if things go to kind of not to plan or as expected, then you're going to say that they're not going to be that big of games. So into the final weekend, England-France is going to be really the big one of the weekend. You'll see there's New Zealand, Italy in there as well, but again, not New Zealand are going to win that one quite comfortably. And then finally, there's that Japan-Scotland one. If things go as expected, we'll come into this game with Japan having lost just one, both Japan and Scotland having lost just 1 game to Ireland, and this will decide who gets that 2nd place in the group. Obviously, we're expecting Scotland to win that game, but let's say that is a key game. It's also the last one of the pools, or in the pool stage, I think it is. So again, just for that point of view, you're not going to have any more rugby until the following weekend when you have the playoffs. So unlike the rest of the week, or the rest of the tournament when you've got midweek games, we're going to hit into quarterfinals, semi-finals, and final, and all this area is going to be empty, devoid of games. Sure, I've put in light grey the kind of ones I'm going to try and catch. I'll also try and catch extra games as well, but that's just because, hey, I just like watching rugby. But for me, those are your key games that you're going to want to watch and put in your calendar. So go ahead and do that now. Thank you very much for being supporters of Driving Maul. It means the world to me. Hope you've enjoyed this quick look at the key games of the group stages. And another video I'll be bringing out will be who are the real contenders for the Rugby World Cup. I think there are probably about 5 teams that can realistically win the Rugby World Cup. So I'll do you a video for that as well.